One of the most significant and interesting components of the legends about King Arthur concerns an object called the Holy Grail. See Arthurian legend. The word Grail seems to be derived from Grail, a word still used in France to refer to a wide-mouthed cup. In the legend's most predominant forms, the Holy Grail is identified with the cup used by Jesus at the Last Supper. In the legends, the Holy Grail is the object of a search, and finding it symbolizes a kind of mystical union with God. When and how the legend originated is unknown. It appeared in several pieces of literature during the late Middle Ages, from the 12th through the 15th century. The earliest known book to deal with it as a holy object is Le Conte du Grail, the story of the Grail, also known as the Tale of Percival, by Chrétien de Troyes, a French poet of the 12th century. In it, Chrétien unites the religious quest for the Grail with a number of knightly adventures. In the story, Percival is a knight of childlike innocence. His adventure consists of visiting the castle of the wounded Fisher King, where he sees a mysterious dish, the Grail. Having previously been scolded for asking too many questions, he refrains from saying anything about the Grail. His failure to ask a question prevents the Fisher King from being healed of his wounds. Afterward, Percival sets off in search of the Grail and learns the real meaning of chivalry or knighthood and its connections with Christianity. In later versions of the book, Percival is replaced by Sir Gawain, who goes in search of the lance that had pierced Jesus' side at the crucifixion. In a 13th century treatment of the story by Wolfram von Eschenbach, the Grail is a precious stone that has fallen from heaven, not a cup. Wolfram's story became the basis for Richard Wagner's last opera, Parsifal, 1882. The Grail story is given an explicitly Christian interpretation in the work of Robert de Boron, written around the end of the 12th century. He wrote an early history of the Grail in his Joseph of Arimathea, based on a figure described in the New Testament as present at the crucifixion. Boron identifies the Grail as the cup used at the Last Supper. The Grail is eventually brought to Western Europe, where it is connected with the founding of the Round Table by King Arthur's father, Uther Pendragon. The version of the Holy Grail legend that had the widest influence in romances of the late Middle Ages was written by Sir Thomas Malory, died 1470. His book is Mort d'Arthur, Death of Arthur. In the story, King Arthur has been told that a seat at the Round Table will someday be filled by a knight who seeks and finds the Holy Grail. A stone is found with a sword embedded in it, but no knight is able to draw the sword from the stone until Sir Galahad, son of Sir Lancelot, is brought to the Round Table. He alone is able to remove the sword. Arthur and his knights then set out on the quest. The Grail represents not a search for salvation, but a vision of God as the reward for a pure life. Lancelot, because of his adultery with Queen Guinevere, only sees the Grail in a dream. Percival, having committed but one sin, is permitted to see it in visions. Only to Galahad is it given to look into the Grail itself and to behold mysteries that no other human can imagine. After his vision, Galahad dies and the other knights return to Camelot. Knights who do not seek divine help in their pursuit fail completely in their quest.